This video, we're going to be solving these three systems of equations. So if you have one of these in particular that's kind of like the one on your math assignment, maybe skip to that part of the video. Otherwise, we'll just take this from the top and start with number one. All right, number one here, we have a y that is isolated. And because it's isolated, we can solve this using substitution. In fact, I think all of these today are going to be substitution. When it comes to substitution, I like to put a box around what that single variable equals. In this case, it's just 4, right? And then I'm going to sub that in, for that y in the other equation. I like to put an arrow and show where I'm going to put that 4. And then I'm going to rewrite the equation that the arrow is pointing to. So I'm going to say now 2x plus, I even like to leave a space with parentheses. You don't necessarily have to there, but anyway, equals 8. And in those parentheses, I'm going to replace my y with 4. Now, when you do this, you should have no more y's in the equation that you just wrote. If you do, you did something probably wrong, all right? Now, this plus 4, I really don't need the parentheses on this problem. Later we will, so I'm going to erase these. But now I'm just going to solve this like a regular algebra problem, where I'm going to subtract 4 on both sides and get 2x equals 4. 8 minus 4 is 4. Divide both sides by 2, and of course, x equals 2. Now, this one is pretty easy because we're kind of done, right? X is 2 and y is 4. And we're going to write our answer as an x, y ordered pair, where the x goes first, and then the y comes next. And so my answer is actually the ordered pair 2, 4. Let's try number 2. All right, number 2, kind of similar. We have y equals 6x, and that's going to be my isolated variable because it's by itself. And so I'm going to put a box around what it equals. Now, you can have an x in that box and a number like we do in this one. However, because this is what y equals, it's going to go to the y in the other equation. And just like before, I'm going to replace that y with parentheses. And what does y equal? Well, it equals 6x. So that's what I'm going to put in those parentheses. Okay, now, like before, we should not have any more y's, and we don't. We can, however, combine like terms. What is 2x plus 6x? It is 8x. So I have 8x equals 8. Nice easy one here. Gonna divide and get 1. Now, x equals 1. Unlike the last one though, the y is not just a number. It has kind of other stuff with it. So what we need to do with this 1 now is plug it back into probably the one who has that box around it, or whatever our isolated variable was. So I'm going to say y equals 6, but then instead of x, I'm going to say times what my x equals, which is 1. So we're kind of doing it backwards for the other equation. Of course, 6 times 1 is 6, so y equals 6. Just like before, we're going to write our answer as an x, y ordered pair, where x is 1 and y is 6. All right, let's try number 3. All right, number 3, we have x equals 4y and then 4x minus y equals 75. I threw this one in there in case your x is the one that's isolated, like we see in this top equation. The x is by itself. Now, in all of these, I'm not using the bottom one because 4x and the y, those are on the same side of my equal sign, whereas up here, this one is isolated. So that's what I want to use for the substitution. Put a box around what it equals, and we're going to sub it in for the x in the other problem. Now, why is it going in for the x? Because that's what x equals up here, so I can plug that in for x in the other problem. Those are equal to each other if the system is true. So we have 4, leave a space, minus y equals 75. So this one's interesting because we can actually do something inside this parentheses now. Fill it in with 4y. And what is 4 times 4y? Well, this is going to be 16y. Right? Write down the rest. And then what is 16y minus y? Well, this is like saying minus 1y. So 16 minus 1 is 15. 15y equals 75. Divide by 15. By 15. And of course, y equals 5 here. All right. Now, again, we have to plug this back in, usually to the one that has that box around it, which was x equals 4y. Now, I'm going to not put the y, though, because I found what y was. I'm going to say, instead of y, I'm going to say 5. And what is 4 times 5? It's 20. So x equals 20. Once you have what y equals for just the number and what x equals for the number, you can write this out as your x, y ordered pair, where x comes first is 20 and y is 5. Be very careful that you don't flip-flop those because sometimes you find the y first and then the x, so it's easy to mix those up, but make sure you have those in the correct x, y ordered pair.